All right, let's talk about something that's going to affect pretty much every business in the UK. The way we all handle our taxes is about to go through a massive transformation. Now, to help us all get our heads around this, the experts over at Pro Tax Accountant have put this guide together. We're going to walk you through exactly what's changing so you're not caught off guard. Let's dive in. Okay, be honest. Who here dreads that January 31st tax deadline? You know the feeling, right? That mad scramble for receipts, the endless spreadsheets, that little bit of panic as you try to piece together an entire year's worth of business. It's practically a national tradition of stress for millions of us. Well, get this. For millions of us, that whole annual nightmare is about to become a thing of the past. Seriously. It's being completely replaced by something brand new, thanks to a huge government initiative that's changing the game entirely. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A huge tax change. Sounds complicated, maybe even a little bit scary. And you're not wrong. It is the biggest tax shakeup in a generation. But that's exactly why this guide was developed by the experts at Pro Tax Accountant. We're here to prepare you, to cut through the jargon, and make sure you're ready for what's next.
So here's our plan. First, we'll unpack what this tax revolution is actually all about. Then we'll get into who it affects and, crucially, when. We'll also take an honest look at the real costs and benefits. And most importantly, we'll go through a simple plan to get you ready now. Finally, we'll talk about getting the right kind of help. Sound good?
All right, Section 1. What in the world is making tax digital? Let's unpack these new rules that are coming down the line for all UK businesses.
Okay, so in a nutshell, making tax digital, or MTD for short, is a huge UK government project. The main idea is this. They're making it mandatory for businesses to keep all their records digitally. Yep, no more shoeboxes full of receipts. And you'll have to submit your tax updates directly to HMRC using special MTD-compatible software.
And this really shows the difference. The old way, that was one big annual tax return, often pieced together last minute from paper records. The MTD way, the new way, it's all about keeping digital records for every single transaction, and then submitting updates every single quarter using software. It's a totally different rhythm for doing business.
Yep, you heard that right. The number to remember here is 5. Under the new system, it's not one submission a year anymore, it's 5. You'll be sending 4 quarterly updates with your income and expenses, plus one final declaration at the end of the year to tie it all together. It's a massive shift from what we're all used to.
Okay, here's a pro tip, and this is really important to get right. Under MTD, you have to keep a digital record of every single transaction. I'm not talking about just a quarterly summary. I mean every invoice you send, every expense you claim, every little thing. It's all about the details.
So, the million-pound question, who is this actually going to affect? Let's take a look at the timeline for freelancers, landlords, and small businesses, because it's not happening to everyone all at once.
So, how do you know if this applies to you? Let's break it down with an example. Imagine a freelance graphic designer in London. The key thing to understand is that HMRC looks at her total income from all her business and property sources combined to decide when she needs to join MTD. It's about the total turnover, not just profit.
And here's the timeline. It's being rolled out in phases. First up, April 2026. This is for self-employed people and landlords with a combined income over £50,000. A year later, in April 2027, that threshold drops to £30,000. And then in April 2028, it drops again to £20,000. These are the dates you really need to have on your radar.
So, just to make it super clear, who's in? Self-employed individuals and landlords with income over those thresholds we just talked about. Who's out, at least for now? Well, partnerships are on a different schedule, and if your total income is below the MTD threshold, you're not in scope yet. Same goes for some non-residents. But that key phrase is for now.
All right, next up, let's talk about the real costs versus the potential benefits. I mean, what's the actual price of going digital? We're going to take a really honest, balanced look.
So let's start with the big number. According to the National Audit Office, the total upfront cost for UK businesses to make this switch is estimated to be £1.5 billion. That's not a typo. That's the collective cost of businesses, not the government.
But what does that actually mean for the average small business? Well, research suggests the average upfront cost is around £330. Now, that's for things like new software or getting some training, but keep in mind, that's just an average. For some, it could be a bit more.
And check out this quote from the UK National Audit Office. They basically said that the combined cost for businesses and HMRC to get this up and running was greater than the extra tax money they actually expected to collect from it. That's a pretty powerful statement. It really shows the scale of the financial load on small businesses. But stay with me because there is another side to this story.
Okay, so after all that talk about cost, what's the potential upside? Well, HMRC suggests that once you're set up, things could get a lot better. We're talking about having a clearer, real-time view of your finances, reducing the chance of making mistakes, and just generally feeling more in control of your tax situation. No more January surprises. That's the dream, right?
So, how can you prepare for all this right now? Let's go through a simple 4-step action plan that you can start on today.
First things first, check your income. Your tax return for the 2024 to 2025 year is what determines if you fall into that first wave. Second, if you haven't already, go digital now. Don't wait. Just start keeping digital records today. Third, start researching your software options. HMRC has a whole list of approved software, and there will be free versions for very straightforward cases. And number 4, and this is a big one, talk to an expert. Seriously, don't put it off.
Look, this change is big, but you really don't have to go it alone. Let's talk about finding a partner in tax, so you can navigate everything we've just discussed with total confidence.
Okay, just a quick but very important legal note. The information we've gone through here is for general purposes only. It's really not meant to be your only source when you're making financial decisions.
And for that reason, before you make any final calls, you absolutely must consult with a qualified expert. Someone like the fantastic team over at ProTax Accountant.
The bottom line is, you can navigate this change with confidence. The key is simply getting the right advice. So if you have questions, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, get in touch with the experts at ProTax Accountant today. You can reach them on WhatsApp or by phone at 07985689912, or just drop them an email at info@protaxaccountant.co.uk. Thanks so much for joining me.